Happy Wednesday, everyone. Favorite time of the week. Prowess goes live. I'm very, very, very pumped. Very, very, very pumped for our guest this week. So excited. I'll get into why. Before I did, welcome everyone. I'm Ashley Connell, CEO and founder of Prowess Project, and today we are talking about how to flip your marketing so that your ideal clients come to you. Why I was so excited about this topic is what I hear from online business managers is they're like, Ashley, give me systems, give me structure, give me efficiencies, give me automation, but don't make me sell. But don't you worry. Don't you worry. We're talking all about that today and so much more. But to get everyone on the right page, get everyone started, put into chat our starter question for today. Describe your ideal client. Now, this could be the type of industry. This could be what they're asking you to do. This could be their different qualities. I love one woman that I worked with a long time ago. She's like, I only work with nice people, point blank. And I love that. So put into chat, what are some top types of client that you like to work with? How would you describe them? Real estate agents, love that one. Ooh, we should talk. Love that one. What else? Put into chat. How would you describe your ideal clients? Waiting one more second. Well, that's smart female founders. Okay. Love that one too. Wonderful. So what is Prowess Project? What are we doing here? All of you who are watching most likely do know that we are a online platform where we help train caregivers and career pivoters to be online business managers. So they run businesses while their clients can go out and grow their business. From there, then we match them up with the visionary CEOs who, again, totally understand how to grow their business, are an expert in their area, but don't want to do the systems, the running of the business. And that is where y'all are so good at. So today, as I said, we're talking about flipping the marketing, right? And how getting your ideal clients coming to you. And so I'm so excited about this guest because first of all, I have a background in events. Did a ton of in-person events and online events. And this person has a trademark, I believe, but definitely signature type of event that she talks about all the time that is her secret sauce. So of course we will talk about that. But even more importantly, her vibe. I am in a networking group with her, and it's one of those masterminds where someone will have a problem and we all go around it and like share different ideas or experience shares or whatever that is. Well, whenever she raises her hand to give someone encouragement, advice, thoughts, what have you, I'm like, shh. Like, everyone, shut up. Whatever she's about to say is going to be gold. And with that, my friends, I would love to bring Cat Orsini. Hello. Talk to us. Welcome.
Thank you. I think we kind of color coordinated today. Feeling the vibe, right?
Yes, we really are. Look at that. So pumped to have you here. So, Cat, before we get into what you do now, give us some background. Give us the quick and dirty of how you got to where you are, doing what you're doing, being the expert that you are right now.
So I got here by leaning into my too muchness and rejecting my not enoughness. So I just became ness, my fullness, right? So basically, like, the shortest version I can do is I got my MBA, I got a high paying consulting gig because that's the expectations, and I needed external validation because I couldn't do it for myself. I got it. I hated it. I learned a ton. Like, let me not take away. I actually had a really great manager. That was rare. But I Googled what's my passion. And at the time, the search results were not fantastic. And there was no way I was going to pay $47 to take some kind of quiz that was going to tell me what I was meant to do in my life. So a year later, I hired a life coach and was trying to figure out the answer to that same question. And essentially, it was my first exposure to personal development. I had never experienced this thing before, and it felt so empowering and impactful that I wanted to do it to other people. So I plopped down my first 10K investment to get my certification as a life coach. And I made 3 people cry in my first meeting. And it wasn't because I was terrible. It was because I had asked these questions that shook people to their core. And I was like, impact, immediate impact. And it was like crack for me, for my soul, right? I was like, I want this and I want to do more of this. So as I started growing my business, people started to come to me asking me how I was doing it. And I was like, whoa, I can actually merge these two things together, because in the life coaching space, you're not allowed to tell people what to do. But that was one of my favorite things to do, was to tell people what to do. So I became a strategist that leverages modalities from the coaching space to get people into action so that they're effectively doing lead generation, which is what most people actually hate doing in their business, and I love, so that they're reducing the amount of time it takes for someone to make that buying decision, building community, and actually having other people do their lead gen for them for free.
What? Like, all of those things that you just described. Literally, Leah and I were having a conversation this morning about KPIs and the rest of this year, and we were trying to figure out how to do that. So I am even more excited about this conversation than I was before. So tell us, the name of your company is Action Incubator, correct?
Yeah.
Tell us, we understand kind of the lead gen, but then there's some other kind of
The firework experiences.
Well, yes, but okay, I was gonna let you but yes, the firework experiences. Tell us about it. I'm all ears.
Right. So how this came about, because I think it's important to understand how against bro marketing I am, right? So we can be anti-war, we can bro peace. I'm all about, strengthen our business. And I don't share this enough, which is the reason why I do what I do, is because my mom had to travel a lot through no fault of her own, right? It's what she needed to do to provide for the family. But then that left me open to being bullied and all this other stuff, and just, my traumas, right? My big T's, my little T's. And it really, I feel like if she had been there for me in the way that I wanted her to be there, my life could have been different, or I could have had different opportunities, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And so my purpose is actually to help parents, right? And so I'm not the mompreneur. Do not get me wrong with that. I have a serious, very successful business, but I have that, and I can be present in the lives of the people I love, which means that by being present, I can play and tickle as much as I want. I can have 4 and 6 hour work days. I can take the weekends off, never work on weekends, have multiple vacations a year, and have my kids feel truly loved because of my presence. And so they in turn will be able to do more in the world because of that. And so I want to help as many business owners be more present by knowing that they have a successful business that is running and create that consistent revenue. And so when I realized that what I was teaching and what I had learned in the online space was against that, it was all about this hustle culture. It was all about this grind, right? And I could grind and hustle to 100K months and 100K quarters, but at the cost of my relationships, at the cost of my health, at the cost of being completely burned out and not marketing. And so what did that do is that it perpetuated the culture. So I would hustle and grind and I would burn out. I'd hustle and grind and I'd burn out. And unfortunately, it was the only way I knew. And so I was teaching that to other people, but it felt out of alignment. So at one point I was like, I really don't want to do this anymore. This really sucks. It's way too heavy. And universe listened. Fucking A.
Don't you love that? Don't you love that when it actually listens?
Yeah, and listened fast. And so for 6 months, I sold nothing. I had sales calls, I did marketing, and I couldn't sell. And I had to reinvent marketing. I had to reinvent how I did it and how I taught other people to do it, and to be more in alignment with my strengths, because that was one of the key lessons I learned as part of personal development, was to release my weaknesses. My not enoughness was not where I was going to be successful. I had to lean into my too much. And so what I looked at was, where are people too much? And how can we leverage that in our marketing? And then the piece that most people didn't consider is, what will your ideal clients respond to in terms of strategies? Because not every strategy will work for every client. And so if we start looking at those two components, it kind of creates a matrix. My strengths, what they want, right? Meaning what they're already going to say yes to. And when we find those things, we can identify the 2 or 3 strategies that are going to work for you. And so we don't have to waste our time and energy investing in something, trying to figure out or trying to force it to make it work. I'm looking at the 5-day challenge here in that instance, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
who hasn't tried to do that and then hated it, or they didn't get the response they wanted? Shocker. If your high-end client is someone who is very successful and time constrained, they're not going to respond to a 5-day challenge. Why? Because it's very time consuming. And so we want to preemptively anticipate the fail points and lean into the too muchness, meaning the things that we know are going to succeed. Now, the trick isn't just the strategy, it's the experience of the strategy. And what I mean is, like, how many of us have opted in for something, right? We opted in to get it, right? And then we got it and it was a hot piece of garbage. Well,
Yep.
technically did effective marketing. They got your email address, they had copy that converted, they had an opt-in page, they delivered the product. What they missed was what most people are missing, which is they didn't actually drive any value. They didn't think of your experience of the content. They were so focused on having a pretty opt-in page that they didn't think about how to solve a problem to make you a better buyer. And that's where the real strategy comes into play. That's where strategist helps you take what you have and turn it into solving a problem that makes your ideal clients better buyers, so that they see the value of what it's like to work with you. Now, let's say they're not ready to buy right away. We're not going to break out and say, you suck because you won't buy from me right now. Take a short walk off a long pier. You're a worthless human being. That's the manipulation NLP stuff, right? No, what we do is we create a community of people becoming ready to buy. That's your pipeline. Your pipeline is people becoming ready to buy. But are you ignoring them, or are you showing them opportunities to work with you and the value of what it looks like to have you in their corner? These are firework experiences. So we want to really, we don't want these little sparklers where you're just basically taking a strategy and playing with yourself, right? Like who's you, right? Writing your name in the sky, great, it disappears. But a firework, whether it goes off in the middle of the night or the middle of the day, stops people in their tracks and it makes people pay attention. And so that's what we want to create. And how we have other people start creating leads for you is when you have something that's worth sharing. When you have something that is so enticing that people get excited to share it because it's so valuable, then other people want to come and they start advocating and they start saying, oh, you want to be on podcast? Come to Cat's Podcast Mixer. It's great. It's got all these amazing people and the experience is awesome. And it's unlike any other networking thing. And there's no pitching and all this other stuff. And so people do my lead gen for me because I have something that's worth sharing.
I could go in so many directions. This is amazing. First and foremost, I'm so glad that you started this off on the why and sharing about your family and how you wanted to be present and how you designed your business to support the life that you wanted. That is going to resonate with our entire audience, and quite frankly was a really, really, really great reminder for me. Like that is exactly why we built Prowess Project. And then sometimes I even find myself being like, Ashley, be a bit more present, be a bit more present, and falling into that past life that was broy, that was like, how many calls did you have today?
Right.
Get to the yes, like all of those things that just feel icky. So well, hold on, let me pause. Everyone who is watching live here, this time is for you too. If you have questions, put them into chat and we'll get them answered. I have a ton of questions, as always. So don't you worry there. Okay. So tell us more about how you are starting to find your ideal customer and then inviting them to these experiences. Like how, and let me give you a little context. Our OBMs, most of them are new-ish, or they're starting to figure out who their ideal customer is. Yeah. And they just need at-bats oftentimes. Right. And I want everyone who's listening to this too, think about this as not only use it for yourself, but also use it for all of your clients who are coming to you and saying, Ashley, I need a stronger pipeline. Or Ashley, OBM, I need a stronger pipeline. How do I make that happen? So context, how do you even get started?
Yeah, no. So one of the things that I'm super excited about is probably in 2025, I'll be launching the Lead Boss certification. So it's taking my 2000 templates, getting access to them. So you never have to worry about helping people answer the question of how do we go from talking about the weather to whether we should work together. That weather to weather turn of the conversation is where most people get stuck, right? Yeah, I love that one liner. It's like it's
Oh my God, it's
so
so
much
good.
released in that statement where people are like, oh my God, this and that. Yeah. So it's usually what I call you want to create your choose your own adventure where nobody dies. Right. So when you have these things that happen when you're marketing, you're putting out a post, you're doing a workshop, you're doing a mixer, you're speaking on stage, whatever it is, there's kind of really two outcomes. Usually somebody registered, they showed up or didn't show up. Right. So let's talk about that's the easiest target initially. Well, what are
Sure.
you going to say? Thanks for coming. And I'm sorry we missed you. Right. Like, so we want to document these things so that we can enable other people to be successful, to step into our business later. So that's the first thing I want to make sure people like really remember is start documenting right away. What is working, what's not working, right? Start tracking those conversations because the last thing you want to do is spend 2 hours trying to find the email you sent 2 months ago. And everybody's done that because it was perfect and you don't want to have to recreate it. So this is about continuing that thing. So where to find your ideal clients? Well, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the first thing we do when we're starting to build wealth is we start renting an apartment. And that's when you go into other people's communities, right?
Right.
And you build your wealth by building your community. So we do both. When we speak at other people's events, that's renting an audience, it's renting an apartment. So we can absolutely have friends and make friends and bring them over, but it's not the same power and wealth building opportunity than if we build our own community. So when you're looking at these places, find communities that already exist and add value. Don't be pitchy Pete. We've all met him on LinkedIn. I'm sorry for the real estate agents, but when you connect with them, you know exactly what's going to happen, or the financial brokers. You're going to get that pitch, and it gives people PTCD, post-traumatic connection disorder. Now, we know that people have a reaction and an adverse reaction to connecting. So if we use that information, that's why we use firework experiences, because it's something they already want. They will overlook any potential sales or sleaze. Even when you're not meaning to, we can accidentally trigger that because people are so reactive to it. So let's use the information. Let's give them something that they want to get their hands on, that they'd be almost willing to forgive a pitch, right? But what happens is because they experience the value, they're actually looking forward to it. So what we want to do as part of this is go back to the marketing. So to find your ideal client, everybody in the marketing world said, people need to know you, they need to like you, they need to trust you. Know, like, and trust, right? We've heard it all the time again. They got it backwards. It's not about people, your ideal clients, knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. It's about them feeling like you know them, that you trust them, and that you know them, you like them, you trust them. Right? I have to do it, or else I get screwed up. So what do? Your marketing should convey their problems. It should be not that. So there's 3 levels of it, right? There's
right.
on the street. How are you doing? I'm fine. You could be having a complete and utter meltdown behind this facade, but you're not inviting Bob the neighbor into your world, right? Now, let's say your cousin calls you. Hey, how are you doing? Kids are a little rough, right? Like one of them had a meltdown last night and I'm a little tired. Okay, we're going a little level deeper. Your best friend calls you. Hey, how's it going? Oh my God, I want to throw my computer out the window. The kids are doing this. This client's doing that, blah, 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 right? 3rd level conversation. Your marketing should be tapping into that 3rd level. Don't keep it superficial. Don't be super cute with stuff. Get right to the point. And it's what I call the only way you can make your mama proud as a hooker is by having that hook sentence. What is going to grab their attention? I'm actually writing an article right now that's all about how we should blame our moms for our lack of success. Is your mom to blame for your lack of success? Right? I'm writing that article. What it is that it's an ethical bait and switch. Because part of what we want to do is we want to establish our success so that our kids then are successful. So there's never any blame that goes around. It's about having the systems and processes in our business that support us and create success that then perpetuates success with our children, creating generational wealth, modifying whatever other experiences we might have had, right? So it's really about empowerment and removing the blame and starting to look at what we can start controlling, because the last thing you want to do is have fake control. And a lot of fake control looks like getting branding pictures when you're not even selling offers.
Yeah.
Everything on your
Yeah.
website when you don't have a full roster of clients, right? So these are fake control things. It's not that they're not important, is that they come at a certain place in your business. When revenue is in, spend the money on the photo shoot, update the website, all for it. But if the money's not coming in, then you need to work on your back end, not your front end.
Girl, it is so, so, so true. And if I maybe that should be the top thing on our website. Like maybe that should be it, like working on your back end, not your front end, because we hear that time and time again for all of the different CEOs who are coming to try and hire our online business managers. They're focusing on, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. Oftentimes that's actually not the problem. They have plenty of leads. Plenty, but it either breaks down in their funnels or in their systems or in their experience or whatever that is. So I love that you're saying that. OBMs can use that to talk about their problem, your client's problem. So I love how you gave us that like anchor image of the firework experience. And I'm like in my head thinking of some that like Prowess Project could do or some that I've attended. Can you give an example of one that like maybe it was a client or something that just knocked it out of the park, and why? Why was it a firework experience?
Oh, there's so many examples. Sometimes it's a complete overhaul. Sometimes it's a completely new strategy. And sometimes it's just a small tweak. Oftentimes, what I find is people are already doing firework experiences. So I have 21 different firework experiences. One of the benefits that I provide my clients is I'm not one of those people, because a lot of times when you think of consultants, they come in, they tell you what to do, and they like roll out, right? I actually have SOPs, so standard operating procedures for every single one of the firework experiences, meaning everything from the emails to invite people, the process and the structure of it, as well as the follow-up, the opt-in page, you can think about whatever you can think of, it's documented. And what it is we take the strategy off the rack and then we start customizing it to you so that it feels like that power outfit. You know, when you're wearing that power outfit,
Yes, yes, girl.
your
Yes.
whole business should feel that way, including your marketing, including your lead generation. It should be that seat of CEO where you have that just client attractive confidence of I look hot, I know everything is good here, right? And I will deliver results. So I just ADD'd. An example. Sorry. So what a lot of times is that the experience isn't quite right. So one example is I had a client who was doing her version of a firework. So it was a workshop. That's one of the firework experiences. And she was doing it. She'd done it for like 4 or 5 months and nobody was registering. And it was good content, but she had this really funky title. And I was like, this does nothing for me, right? Like in marketing, you should turn on. And I was like, this does nothing for me. So all we did was change the title and we get her three very specific takeaways from the workshop. That's all I edited on the landing page, and I changed the title. And all of a sudden she went from 0 registrants to 12, 13 people registering month after month. Half of those people, so roughly 6 to 7 people booking a call, and then at least half of those closing. So what could 3 to 4 new clients a month, because you're consistently delivering the same workshop, what could that do for your business, right? What could one more high ticket client do for your business? And so it's really around building that consistency. Another example, and I give very realistic examples. I had a client who had done 2 firework experiences and she had been part of mine, and she hired me because she said, I know I could try to figure this out, but I'm going to get there a hell of a lot faster if I hire you. And you just get it. And so we ran her firework experience 2 more times. And then all of a sudden she said, there's new people on here. I have no idea who they are. I don't know where they came from. They are perfect fits for my offer. And so that, right, which is what can you do with new connections? And it's other issues. I have no idea where they came from. And I talked to my best referral sources. They didn't come from them. So her marketing was more effective. Her consistency in it, her confidence is boosted. Her offer stack is more in alignment, because all of that has to do with the marketing and the messaging. Totally. But it often find that it's these little tweaks, right? But they're a little bit all over the engine. So once we
Yeah.
start adjusting them, the efficiency, and I call this putting strategic effort into creating ease, right?
Mhm.
So I'm about to post this online, but the secret to my success is a sugar bowl. What is a sugar bowl? Like, why? It's not just because I drink a lot of sweet tea, and this is usually why I'm this hyper, but what happened is the other night I was looking at the sugar bowl and I was like, I don't want to fill it. I'm tired. I've done the dishes, the kids are in bed. And then I thought about tomorrow. I was like, how annoyed am I going to be at myself right now? Because I didn't take the 2 extra seconds to fill the sugar bowl. But in the morning, the kids are running around. I got to make lunches. I got to get them dressed. I got to do all this stuff, right? And then now I have to fill the sugar bowl because I want sugar in my tea. And so I was like, I'm going to do it now because the me of tomorrow is going to be happy that the me of now, of yesterday, put this small little effort into creating the ease down the line. And that's what I find happening with the lead gen is there's these small little things. We don't necessarily always feel like doing it. We don't necessarily look forward to doing it, but it creates so much ease down the line that it's worth the effort now.
Yes, and what I love so much that you're saying and that you said that as part of your, offer too is all the SOPs and making it systematic. I think that is one of the things that I hear from OBMs and clients, alike is they want to do all of these different things to make it unreasonable that you won't have consistent growth. And that's what I'm hearing you say. You're doing all of the tweaks and making it unreasonable that you're not going to get more and more and more leads coming in.
Right.
Love
And
that.
part of it is what I call is you have to have an ecosystem. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like the sparkler thing again, which is people will put this effort into doing this one thing, right? And we've seen it.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of OBM's clients. You see them do this, right? They do
Guilty.
one event and then they snooze for 6 months or 3 months and then they do something else and they're just shocked as to why they don't have a consistent yes, right? And so
Yeah.
part of what we want to do is we always have to know what's next. So they opted into something fantastic. What's next? They went to the workshop. Cool. What's next? They went to this thing. What's next? How are we nurturing them? Because 3% of people are ready to buy, right?
Right.
Most marketers out there are only focusing on the 3. It's an easy win. And then they call their job done. No, they were going to buy from someone. Yay, they bought from you, but they were going to buy from some. What about the 97? You're leaving a lot of money on the table if you're not being strategic about how your marketing and your marketing efforts are nurturing people to a buying decision. Get them to a yes, get them to a no, but get them out of decision purgatory because you can turn a no into a yes. Your pipeline is full of no's.
Yeah.
Are
Great
waiting to
point.
yeses. And so we have to have something for them to experience to reconnect them. Because think about it this way, even if that person was never going to buy, let's say they bought from someone else. Well, what happens is they work with that other person, they become better client for you. Or 2, they are never going to buy from you. How many of us have referred someone that we've never worked with? But have we empowered people to make us referable? If you're not, and I love this one because it really irritates people when I say it. If you're not getting the number of referrals that you want, that's on you. It is absolutely your own fault.
100%. Amen. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. And so question there, do you have any tips on that? How do you I think I know what you're gonna say here, but, like, how do you become referable? Or are there things that you say and the reason why I say that is I think about this every day. Ashley, you know how you can become more referable? You ask someone to refer you, and you set them up for success. That's
Exactly.
what I think in my head.
There's
Make it easier for them.
right. So a lot of times, so I call them spark partners. And so this is what you want to think of because there's referral partners, there's power partners, there's all kinds of ways that people talk about this. But if we think about it as spark partners, your spark partners drive people to your firework experience. It sparks the firework.
Mhm.
So yeah, I always think of it like referrals are going to happen, right? Like when someone's ready to buy, someone's so eager, especially a connector, they're going to connect you. I don't worry about those. What I really want is the other 97%. Because that gives me the opportunity to nurture them and build my community. And so what I need to have in place is something worth sharing. My partners let's say we've met, and there's people that I want to introduce you to, but you're not ready to buy from them, and they may not be ready to buy from you. So if that's not there, then am I not going to connect you? No, I want to connect you. How do I do that? Well, Ashley has this amazing workshop, and this person kind of really needs your help, right? But like, I don't want to be the asshole that sets them up, because I've had that happen to me where someone's like, hey, Cat wants to be on more podcasts. She's ready to, and she should really use your services. I didn't say that. Right. And so now you've put me in a sales call position, and now I'm going to actively avoid the person because I don't like confrontation, and I cannot avoid, and sometimes I don't have adult conversations. So I can admit that. So, but I want to enable things to happen naturally. So the 97% of people need to experience something so that, again, you solve a problem that they probably have that will make them a better buyer. Now, let's say you solve a problem and they go and they implement it and they knock it out of the park and they don't buy from you. That's a win, because who do you think they're going to refer when they meet someone who needs your services? So we have to stop looking at people one-dimensionally, which is just a credit card transaction. That's what the bros do. What we do is we look at people multidimensionally. One, are they a client? We're in business and being a business. Of course, we want to look at people that way. Two, can they connect you to another opportunity? Speaking, podcasting, right? Another connection, another power connector, right? Because those are always worthwhile having this conversation. Or three, do they have your audience, right, in their community, or are they connected to your audience? So if we follow the opportunity instead of just being short-sighted and looking for a transaction, then we can allow for ourselves to have more abundance. Part of this is we need to give in order to receive, and we need to strategically deposit into other people's karmic bank accounts so that we can then write ourselves a blank check. And so we do that by driving value in our marketing. It's not about giving everything away for free, but it does need to be valuable. And then doing the one thing, and I think your community, the OBMs, I know they deal with this, everyone does, which is you got to ask for the sale.
Yes.
So there's
it's hard.
Three things in business. You connect with people, you have a conversation, and then you close them. Connect, converse, close. That's my process. And here's the secret, right? You want to know the best question to ask someone that is really not triggering is, hey, should we have a conversation about what it would look like to work together?
You're right. They could say
around what it would look like to work together.
I really love that. Y'all write that down, put it on the sticky note, add it to the monitor. Like that is so good. You're right. It's not triggering. It is helpful. And you said this, and I got to repeat it because it was so, so good. The idea that people want to connect you with people who still may not be ready to buy, but still need to be in your ecosystem. Holy smokes. I'll say right now, like Prowess Project doesn't have the best avenue for that right now. And we should. And so immediately my brain is like, Leah, go high level. We're going to immediately come up with all these funnels. But I love it. Also, OBMs, I have been on my soapbox about funnels. Think everything Kat is saying and what's next, the backbone of it.
Yeah.
It's basically funnels, workflows, automations, etc. So that's how I want y'all all to be listening to this.
And it's everything drives. So and I should have shared this graphic with you, but I have a graphic that I share. So there's only certain activities. There's visibility activities. There's like social media content kind of stuff. And then there's like cross-pollination. So that's referrals, right. That's, and stuff. So those are really the three buckets of driving traffic. And then we want to go to the offer, right? And the problem is so many people try to go from first connection to the offer. And it happens, right? Again, 3% of people want to buy with the 97%. So what do people then try to do? To get to the offer, you got to go to a phone call because most of us are selling high ticket. The missing piece is the firework experience. Don't drive them to the phone call. Most people aren't ready for that. Do it when it's an option. Sure, give people the opportunity to say yes to it. But when they don't say yes to it, give them something else to say yes to. Just because they say no doesn't mean it's the big no. You just have to ask a different question. That's on us as marketers. Ask a different question they can say yes to and collect the yeses. Do you want to come to this podcast mixer? Do you want to come to this workshop? Do you want to come on my podcast? Do you want to be introduced to this person? Do you want this article that I wrote? Do you want this article that I found? Right? So collect the yeses by driving value in that way, and it'll get you to the big why, right? Yes, I want to work with you.
You know, Kat, you said something, and this is so I love what you're just saying. And specifically, when you are going back and forth with someone and providing value, do you recommend saying, do you want this article question? And they need to say yes, and then you send the article, or do you just send them the article?
So 99% of the time, I'm all about permission-based marketing. And that's permission-based sales too. So I do ask permission if that's something that they want, because you have to give people the opportunity to say no, or else it will feel salesy and sleazy. It's the one way to remove the sales and the sleaze is if they asked for the call and they asked for the article and they asked for the thing, then you're not selling, you're delivering, right? So the only other time that I don't follow that rule is if context has already been established. So if I reached out to you after today and said, I wrote this, or I found this article and I thought you would love it, and I put the link in, would you be offended?
No. I'd be grateful. Yeah.
Context. That's the point of firework experiences, is to create context. Context allow for conversation. Pitchy Pete, the reason it's so assaulting and aggressive is because there's no context. You're coming out of nowhere, and then we get triggered, which, mind you, Pitchy Pete isn't doing anything wrong. He's selling. There's nothing wrong with that. We're the ones that are having the bad reaction, which means that we're the ones that have a negative relationship with sales. So it's an internal opportunity to start working on something that's in you, right? You don't need to go and bash this person. They're learning. They'll learn that this isn't a strategy that works. They don't need you to identify that. They'll figure it out, right? We don't need to go on our mighty high horse or whatever it is and read them the riot act. They will figure it out. And if not, the clients that say yes to those strategies, God bless them, right? Have at them. So you can have all the bros you want. So, release that. A part of this is releasing all of that energy, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect you, right? And so you got to look at how you're being present. They want to pitch you, fine, unfriend them, disconnect. It's not worth it, right? But if we provide the value and it's something they already want to say yes to, then there's no sales, there's no sleaze. They want it. And so then you're flipping your relationship with things, and you can actually invite people to it because you know there's value in this for them. So you're really just advocating for them, letting them know that this is something that they can say yes to. And you can start creating a detachment. And that's one of the things that I see happen in sales is if you don't have enough leads, if you don't have enough of a pipeline, you get very attached to the outcome. So you get very connected on the sales call of wanting that person to buy. But if you have enough of a pipeline and you have enough leads and you have the ability to say next when someone says no, then you can have the intention. We want to close clients, but you can come into the conversation detached. And that means that you can listen better to what they want, and you can provide them the value that they need, even when it's not working with you.
Oh man, I am going to have this on repeat before I get on any sales call. That was so good. so good. You're right. And it's funny because I even noticed, when we were starting Prowess Project, we didn't have a ton of leads coming to us all the time, right? Like that takes time to learn and grow and figure out. And it's a very different world. And I had a very different, and it was quite frankly, a desperate energy when I was talking to those people who were potentially going to buy versus I do now.
Right.
Oh, it is so true. Okay. I realize that we are way over. Thank you. Is there anything that you want to leave this group with? Any thoughts coming to mind? Tell us.
Is it okay if I share a free resource?
Girl, yes, I was going to ask that next.
So
yes,
shared about, I have a mixer. So a lot of us use visibility, and this is for people who use, content, speaking, you're a podcast host, you want to be a podcast guest. This is a community. It's non-pitchy. My philosophy is that when we know who we are, we're likely to support each other than if we only know what we do. So if you want to go to leadbossmixer.com and register, it's for 6 and 7 figure business owners. OBMs are very welcome. There's a lot of contribution, a lot of connections, because it's all about giving more than we're taking. And with that, that's what creates that rising tide that really supports everybody to create more success. One last thought is because I know a lot of people talk about this is happening in the economy, that. There's always something happening in the economy, whether it's a government shutdown or a pandemic or whatever political strife is happening. What you want to remember is that just because the tide's out doesn't mean there's less water in the ocean. So the opportunity here is to move your feet to the water, because that's what's going to get you to, that's that strategic effort into creating the ease. And so just remember, there is opportunity. Every audience has an offer. Not every offer has an audience.
Fantastic, Cat. Thank you so much. Seriously, I appreciate it so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes. So I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me at Cat Orsini, or on Facebook or Instagram, all the good things. And yeah, just reach out. I'm very approachable.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kat. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We are holding a workshop on March 25th. So, Leah, if you don't mind putting the link there, where we are teaching how to be an OBM and to soar to 6 figures. Thank you again, Kat. And next week, Leah is going to be interviewing one of our online business managers who is well on her way. No, has already achieved 6 figures. So you want to be here for that. Thank you.